Hey, what's up guys? This is T-Bone here, and I'm doing a live stream right now for Gemstone Legends. And actually, I probably should have sent the link to the stream so that others can see it. If anybody who's watching right now can help me out, send a link to the Discord channel, that would be great. But let's go ahead and actually, I can just do this right now. I'll just copy this and paste it into the chat for everyone. Join me for a live stream to talk about the patch. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this. So what I wanted to do today, I wanted to do this in a stream format because I wanted to talk about the patch. And instead of this being a, just an offline thing, I wanted to get people's live reactions to this. I wanted to give my take on it for sure. And I wanted to talk about what's important, what is, what are the things that you need to know, and also just what are people thinking? Right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So Jane Sparks, welcome to the stream. Haven't done a live Gemstone Legends stream in a while. Appreciate you joining me. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this note just got dropped and some of the changes are live now, but what they're saying is not everything is going to be live until everybody has had a chance to download the updates. Okay, so that's the first thing. And let's go through and take a look at our patch notes. We got Classic Kelly. Welcome. Thanks for joining me here. All right, so here are the notes here. There's four main things that I know that they've included in here. First one is, well, I guess five. The first one is optimized app loading. So, we now have an updated screenshot, or I guess a loading screen, so you can see it. It's actually part of my screen capture as well, or my thumbnail as well. But it is, I suppose what they're saying is this is going to make it faster, right, for you to get into the game. I have noticed that, it is something that takes a little bit of time to get into, so a little bit of a improvement. So hopefully that's something that you can see. And let's see, I'm not seeing the chat pop up here, which is too bad. I do see people saying hello, but it's not popping here. So, oh well, that's okay. So let's get into the first thing that I think is actually really interesting and one that I'm excited for. The way that we are summoning is going to be changed now. So we're actually going to be changing our summoning. And the way it works now is they're going to make it so that I think every weekend you're going to get a different type of boost. This is going to happen, let's see, on the weekend. I want to read this a little bit detail, right? So as our heroes collection continues to grow, our players have expressed a need to have more avenues to obtain older heroes. And so what they're saying is acknowledging that the wish list assists in boosting a single chosen hero and recognize that every player may seek different champions. They've chosen to enhance the summoning boost rather than revert to the previous format. So they don't want to, pre-select heroes for boost, and they want you to now have the ability to choose what you want. And so what they're saying is during the weekends, without summoning boosts for new heroes, you're going to get one of the new boosts here. So the thing that I'm reading into here is also they're going to have weekends now where there aren't any new summoning boosts, like any new heroes. We used to have a new hero every single week, like starting Friday that goes through the weekend. And so if we're going to have weekends now don't have summoning boosts, I guess that tells us that we're going to have these, boosts be spread out a bit so we don't get new heroes all the time. That's going to be a good thing. And so now we have different types of boosts. The first one is a blessing boost, where we're going to get, anytime we summon a legendary hero, you're now going to get 2 to choose from. Right? And James Bartz, yes, it's going to be amazing, right? So the first thing you're going to notice is you're going to get 2 legendaries to choose from now. And that's going to happen on the weekends without the new hero boost, but this will not apply to Astral heroes. So the key thing here to remember is that we need to separate out our regular heroes from the Astral heroes. And this blessing will only work for legendary heroes, not for epic heroes, only for legendary. So whenever you summon and you happen to get a legendary hero, now you're going to get 2. And you don't need to spend a blessing for this. That's the best part. Blessings cost a ton of money to actually obtain. And so now we basically get a free blessing on the weekends with a blessing boost. So now when you get a legendary, you at least get a choice between two, which is going to be a lot better than just, taking the one that they give you. All right. So that's the first thing. The second thing, that a second type of boost is where they will actually boost astral heroes. Okay. So we all know how difficult it is for us to actually obtain the astral scrolls. So having the choice to actually get the one that we care more about is going to be really good for legendaries, given how difficult it is for us to get it. And so this is exactly the same thing. You're going to get two legendaries heroes to pick from, but only for stellar or for astral heroes. That means during that weekend, don't use your gold scrolls, don't use your diamond or your platinum scrolls. You can only use the astral scrolls to take advantage of this. Okay, so keep in mind, this is very important. I think every time we have an astral blessing boost, I will continue to make sure people recognize that. Don't waste your scrolls. This will only work for astral tomes, or sorry, astral scrolls. There's some questions here, like how often it's going to happen. I guess I'm not sure. Just looking at the details here, there's 4 different types of summoning, and given that typically there's 4 weekends in a month, I think they're probably just going to have this in rotation. But if they do that, that means we're never going to get a new hero boost. So that probably will not be the case. So I don't know. That's a good question on how often will we get this, and how often will we rotate it. But knowing that this is coming is a good thing. I wish they would do this more regularly. And I'm hoping that for the double chance summoning boost that I'm about to talk about, this is what they apply to the actual new hero summoning. So like when they introduce a new hero, give us a double chance summoning. I think that's going to be the best way to do this, right? So double chance summoning, what does this mean? This means that for your legendary heroes summoning, you're going to increase the chances of getting this, like the increase of getting this will be doubled. There is, always some sort of a chance to get it up until you get to your mercy counter. Before you get to your guarantee, you now double the chances. I don't remember the exact numbers, but double is better than nothing. And I think that if you combine this with the new hero summoning, that's going to be the best option, personally. And again, they've separated this out from regular heroes than astral heroes. So keep in mind as well, this will be for regular legendaries, and then they have the summoning for astral heroes as well, where you also get double the chances of getting a legendary. Okay, so hopefully this helps you get the astral legendary that you're looking for. I still don't have Capre, even though we had a summoning for it. I used up all of my scrolls, and I didn't get one. In fact, I didn't get a legendary at all. So I'm hoping that I'm close to getting one. And so, Classic Kelly, you've saved your astral scrolls. I think that is a smart move. Let's see how this works when we get there. And let's see, James Bart's. If it's once a month, then it's best to save scrolls for the boost. Yeah, I think so too. Like you're just gonna have to save that. Okay, so let's go and continue on. So that's the blessing. One really good thing. I think just wanted to get it out of the way. The second thing here is going to be the one that has a lot of controversy. Okay, I'm going to talk about this a little bit, then I'm going to come back to it because I want to spend a little bit more time to focus on it. And Shambu, thanks for joining us here. So let's just talk about at a high level what this means, okay? There are 3 things that they're going to cap now. There are 3 things in the game that happens today, and they're going to cap it. The first thing is they're going to cap the amount of ignore defense you can have, and it's now maximum at 75. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this real quick, what that means. So hopefully you can still hear me. So let's take a look here, right? So the way this works is you take a hero ordeal. For example, she ignores 40% defense. And then you can put on the Gauntlet of Thorns that at max level ignores 30% defense. You're now at 70% defense that you can ignore. All right. And then because of the dragons that we have, and there was a video I made a while ago about using vermin as my choice, you can see I've chosen to level them up all the way to 100, waiting to get to 101. But basically at level 81, you can have an additional 30% of ignore for ignore defense. And so that effectively gives you 100% defense ignore. And so what that means is regardless of who you are up against, you can typically use Odile to actually deal all the damage against any hero regardless of how much defense they've put on that defender. And so that's how I was able to show a ton of damage I was able to deal against, all kinds of opponents like bosses and whatnot. And that is what is going to get nerfed. So coming back to this, then what you're going to see here is instead of having the ability to go up to 100% ignore, you're capped at 75%. Okay, so going back to my original example with Odile, 40% from her skill and another 30% from the relic, it means even if I apply my vermin's passive ability, I will only gain up to 75% ignore defense. That means I'm going to have reduced amount of damage. And that means everyone is going to have reduced amount of damage for anyone who has gotten their ignore defense up to above 75. But for all the other heroes that don't have up to 75% ignore defense in the first place, there's no change. Okay, I want to be very clear about this, what this means. I'm not defending or arguing for or arguing against at this point. I'm just highlighting what this means to you. The second thing is healing reduction. Okay, so there's also this new skill now that allows you to reduce the amount of healing. So they're capping that to say you can't reduce it at 100% reduction. So you're gonna be able to get some healing. The maximum reduction is at 75%, meaning no matter what happens, your heroes will still be able to heal up to 25%. Okay. And then mana generation reduction. So this is the one where there's some skills that says from all sources, whether it's from Streetblock, whether it's from other heroes, their abilities, or you just gaining mana yourself. There are skills that also reduce how much you can generate. And they've capped it so that you can't go up to 100%, meaning you can't stop a hero from completely gaining mana. But you could have your mana gain. So this is a very important piece. How much you generate is from outside sources. So somebody has a skill, they apply a skill and you gain that mana, that could be reduced by up to 90%. Your personal mana gain is how much mana you get from gem matches. Okay, that's the key difference. When you generate mana from your gemstone matches, that comes from your mana gain. That's how much mana you get when you match it. Okay, you could still get that drop down to 0 is what they're saying. So you could theoretically get nothing from matching your gems, but if there are skills that give you mana, that can't be dropped down to 0. Okay, so those are the three things I wanted to talk about. I think the one that has given the most controversy right now is ignore defense. Again, like I said, I'll come back to it in a bit. Let me know in the chat what you think about it so far. But I'm going to move on because I think there are also things that we should celebrate. So finally, they're going to give us more storage update. Okay, they're going to give us an additional 3 slots in the storage that has 100. I think is it 100 each. So let's see. So they're going to have access to 3 storages, each initially offering 5 unlock slots, and then you have to use additional gems and whatnot. And each of those slots will have 400. Okay, each of those storage will have 400 slots each. So they've effectively given us up to 1,600 heroes in our storage, which is huge. Again, I'm going to give you an example. If you look at me right now, if you look at my storage, I'm completely full. I am at 200 out of 200 for my main slot, and then I'm at 400 out of 400 in my storage. So now I'm going to get 3 additional 400, so 1,200 more slots. I can't wait. Like literally, I can't wait for it because I've got just a lot of heroes still in my inbox that I cannot move to work here. So once I get the new storage, I'll be able to get it. Super excited about that. And I think this is something that we've all been waiting for. So the fact that it's finally coming, even though it's coming late, is a good thing. So just excited about that. Let me see. I think maybe I can just like make this a little bit bigger because I don't need to see all of the. There you go. Make this a little bit bigger for people to see as well. So hey, awesome, right? Really happy about this this change. And with the increase in the number of tabs for storage, and what they're doing is they're going to give us the storage icon as well, so that you can also, you know, upgrade your heroes and choose which storage you're coming from. So basically just like improvements to things that we're going to be able to get. Okay, so those are sort of like the main changes, but they've also included some bug fixes to it. So let's talk about this. First is, you know, in sparring, like sparring is the new feature where you can actually pick a team and then let people sort of, you know, run against it, see how you do. They're changing the, you know, they're fixing some of the bugs around it. And they're also, you know, concealing the team stats. These are just like some improvements, right? But there are things that I think is important, and that is enhancing the auto-selecting heroes option in the tavern. This one right here. Some people don't realize it, but when they choose their heroes in a tavern, like automatically, they don't always give you the right choice. So what happens is you end up having teams that don't fully meet the requirement, and then you don't get it. And people don't realize that until later, and so they don't get the bonus, right? This is now fixed so that you can automatically select it, so you have the right heroes. And they've also made it so that they don't move around the missions like after you've after you selected, so that it just a little bit of a you know, improvement to your quality of life, so that you can just kind of go down, and if you wanted to re-roll and whatnot, you'll just kind of stay where you need to, so you don't have to find where did the new mission come to. I think that's going to be good. New prestige level, that's good for people who have already reached the top. I've still got a ways to go, so that's something I will I'll have to wait on. But good for people who you know, met the cap. I wish they would show what the new prestige levels will look like. I would love to be able to show like a picture to kind of see what they look like, but we will we'll see when we get there. Let's take a look at the chat here. So Classic Kelly, they knew that the problem existed. They released the hero that ignored defense, and then they released a relic that ignored, and then they released a dragon. Yes, I totally agree. They were the ones that were in charge of including this mechanic. And so they did recognize it in the global chat that it is a mistake that they have. They're owning up to it. Is too late, right? Is it late? Yes. But I think, you know, it's personally, it is a way to address some of the power creep that is getting into the game. It is a globally impacting issue, so I'm not making light of it, but I think that if you make it so that everyone has to deal with it, at least I think it's at least addressing the issue with the power creep on its own. But I do recognize that a lot of people have put a lot of resources into their heroes, and this is not a good feeling to have, for sure. I mean, I've personally, you know, put as much resources as I could into a deal, and I know that there are others that have used other heroes like Fire. Another hero that I've heard about also is Sagittarius. They're all heroes that have ignore defense, and to get that cap now definitely feels like there's a big nerf. But I think I heard somebody, I think James said, yeah, 75% is still a good amount. It's not completely taken away. It's just you can no longer go completely ham in the first 10 turns, right? So that's sort of where things are at right now. And then Don, so your comments on the cloak. So I think this is the question that people have, and I'll go back to it in a little bit. But yeah, there are things that are still in the game that are still, that feel broken still, and I'm hoping that they would go and address it, and that they recognize that there are things that are broken. We can go back and addressing them. Another thing that I know that has been sort of raising questions, I'll highlight here. So the first one is like issues with arena matching, mainly like, hey, if you have connection issues, you automatically lose. And also like there are matches that are just like impossible for you to face. They're going to address that. I'm not sure how well they'll be able to make these changes, but I think any quality of life change is good. But what I wanted to focus on is the last part where they put a no. I kind of wish that this wasn't just like a it's like a footnote almost. This should have been at the top where they outline clearly like what's in scope and what's not in scope. The thing that they removed it. They used to say, for people who read the notes earlier, they used to say that, hey, they're going to make changes to also mana loop and also invincible loop. That's going to come in the future. They've completely removed it, which is good, right? That was going to be my other suggestion. So what they're saying is some of these features are immediately visible, but once most players download the update, they're going to get everything update. And I think what I heard is if we all download everything by Thursday, it'll go live. Otherwise, we'll have to wait until Monday when they force everything through. But the note I wanted to cover was, people are saying, well, are they making changes to remove our mana loop? The answer is no. They're not touching this update. So that is something at least that's good. I wanted to cover that here, but looks like they've already made changes, so we don't need to do that anymore. Let's go back to this conversation where I said it's kind of controversial, and I'm going to talk about why it's controversial too. And I wanted to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comment below also, like, your perspective, what your thoughts are, and what you would like to see different. Because I actually personally came from a game. Some of you could relate. I came from a game where it was the name of the game to have power creep. It was new hero every week, and that hero is always stronger than the previous hero the week before. Okay? And it's a constant. It's a constant thing. You know that when you get a new hero, it's going to be the strongest. Everything else essentially useless, right? And they keep having to increase the health of the boss. They keep having to increase the difficulty of the bosses, the events, and they constantly had to change around it. So we always had issues with just gameplay, bugs, and just people not being able to use their favorite heroes to make a dent in the guild bosses, in their own bosses, and it's always whoever paid the most got the highest scores. Okay. So yes, we have the names listed here. I try to stay away from there, but yes, it is. For those of you who know who I'm talking about, that's the environment I came from. I fought tooth and nail back then to reduce that. And what I'm seeing here is that, yes, they inadvertently introduced mechanics that allowed us to get certain heroes to a point where they're must-haves. They're must-have heroes. They're the heroes to use to bypass all the defenders. They're the heroes to get us the just enormous amounts of damage, right? That no other heroes in the game can accomplish. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to curb that a bit. So personally, I think for the longevity of the game, it's a good thing. But what sucks is that they introduced this in the first place, and then they backpedaled after people have already invested a ton into it. I made a new video about how Odile is the best hero against Vermin. That is quickly going to go out of date, and some people will look at that video and then they're going to see much lower damage, and they're going to wonder why, right? So these things happen. I wish that it wouldn't have taken so long for them to adjust it. And I wish that they would have acknowledged it in the first place to say, hey, this is a problem. We're going to make the change to this. It may take a while, but I expect this to happen. If that were the case, then I think that would reduce the amount of people that would, use all of their resources on a hero that eventually will get nerfed. Because anytime you nerf a hero that people put time and effort into, it's a bad feeling. So I totally get that, right? There's a lot of people chatting in the official Discord where they're giving their perspectives on, hey, you know what? Like, I put a ton of effort and resources into making my hero really great based on my knowledge of the game. And now with this, change, I'm no longer going to be able to do the kind of damage I do, right? So that is a real thing. I recognize that. It's just that my perspective is it's better for us to be in an environment where balance is a important factor. And I want to encourage everyone to continue to provide feedback in a way that allows our developers to understand like what would be the better way to move along with this, and how can we how can we move forward. I guess that's the key. Coming from an environment before where it was very much a whatever the players say didn't really matter. getting more and more power creep into the game so that people feel the need to spend more and more to buy the deck every single week was the important thing. Like that was the case before. I don't see it here. I see them actually trying to do the best they can. And so, I just wanted to use this opportunity to provide my personal perspectives and hear what you guys think about this, and use your opportunity, use your voice here. Let's put our comments in here. The devs, they do watch my videos. They do watch the videos, and they do read the chats as well. But this is my way of getting my personal thoughts out there. I did reach out. I'll be perfectly honest and transparent. I actually did reach out to the devs personally, directly, just to say, you know what, like, I do think that it's a good thing that we are making these changes. I do think that it is coming a little late, and that there are a lot of people with really good, valid perspectives. But like I said, for the betterment of the game as a whole, it is better that we don't have these heroes that are clearly miles ahead of others, because then that limits creativity. That makes it so that it feels useless to get some heroes. We want to be able to have more creativity, but I just wish it wasn't done in a way that makes everyone feel really bad. This is going to be a change I think a lot of people will feel bad about, but I want to reiterate, it is a cap at 75%. A lot of the heroes don't have that in the first place. So you're not going to feel it with a lot of the heroes anyway, but you are going to feel it if you are a primary user of, like, Odile is your primary hero, or Fire. You will definitely feel that, and I'm one of them. Okay, but I'm going to work on alternatives, other ways to be better, to do more damage on the boss. I'll continue to do so. Okay, so love to hear any feedback you have, suggestions. Let's let me know. And so let's see. Yeah, so there are people just kind of explaining what this means. And so I will say that if you have questions on how to use a certain hero with the post update, I'll continue to have more information, tips as I have them, and then we'll figure out ways to continue to grow strong, right, with the way the game is going. And like I said, I'm looking forward to exploring different opportunities and different mechanics. There's probably going to be new changes that'll continue to come. They're talking about other balance updates for heroes, so we'll hear about them. Once I hear about them, I will continue to I'll bring updates again, and we'll talk about, like, what does that mean for our meta? How does that shift things? And then we can explore it together. And so I'm gonna just go back to the game. Go back to the game a little bit. So, like, these are the heroes. One of the things you can do is you can actually do a quick search if you wanted to understand, like, whether you are impacted or not. When you just look in the skills, and you can go to ignore defense, okay? And any hero that is not any hero that isn't already a sorry, wrong one. Yeah, it is. You can filter out. Oh, I did it wrong way. You want to get rid of all Empire heroes, okay? Because Empire heroes are the ones that can benefit from the gauntlet. So these heroes today, unless they have up to 45. If they have more than 45% ignore defense, then you are going to be impacted by the nerf, because Vermin gives 30, and then if you have anything more than 45, you're going to be capped at 75. But I would say that there aren't that many heroes that go up there. I think so. 50. So here's another example then. Eat my own words, right? 50. So here it is. What we are going to see is a slight nerf to, for example, Katsuro. So Katsuro is going to see a slight nerf if you've been using him with Vermin. First 10 turns, instead of the maximum 80% ignore defense, you're going to see it at 75. Okay, so it's a 5% nerf, but after the 10 turns, you'll be exactly the same. So this is how you can use this information to sort of tell you, like, hey, like, how much am I impacted by, and is there ignore defense? Where is what? So this one has ignore defense. Did I lose my filter? No, I didn't. So I think Katsuro was an example. Rogar is another one that ignores up to 20% defense. And with Vermin, you go up to 50% defense. That doesn't change, right? So here's an example where you're not going to be nerfed if you're a Rogar user. Okay, and so I just wanted to highlight, it's like, yes, for the most part, you're going to get some nerf, some more than others, right? Odile, Fire, like I said, and I'll give you another example here. If you look at Sagittarius, if you level him up to level 5, he ignores up to 60% defense, right? So he was getting up to 90% ignore. But now maximum is going to be 75. So he's going to lose 15% of the ignore defense. It is a big deal. Ignore defense is one of the best ways in the game right now to deal more damage. Better than any other method. So we definitely have found ways to really just kind of boost our damage as much as possible. We are going to get that curbed a little bit. And then there's going to be more balances that's going to come. We'll see what's going to be like. And when that happens, I will give you more updates. So that is my. Sorry, I don't know if my audio cuts out when I switch, but that is my summary for the change here. Again, just a quick summary again. App loading, you'll probably see it go in faster. Summoning boost, awesome, love it. Can't wait to see it when it happens. The devil's in the details. How often we get it is going to be key. So start saving your scrolls is my best recommendation. Game mechanics change. Talked about why this is controversial, but storage upgrade, I personally can't wait enough. Like, it can't come soon enough for me. So that is the 4 main changes. Hope you enjoyed my, hopefully this has been helpful. And hopefully you've enjoyed my content. Again, thanks everybody for joining me today. And leave a comment below in the chat. In the video afterwards. Let me know what you think for those of you who are watching afterwards. And that's going to be it from me for the stream. Thanks very much for joining me, everybody. Take care. I'll see you next episode.